Hello, thank you for watching Taxpayer TV. This is our 14th program, and our guest on this session is Barbara Yook, who's our Calaveras County District Attorney. Welcome, Barbara.
Thanks, Al.
All right, Barbara, tell us a little bit about yourself. You've been an elected district attorney for, I guess, 3 years now or longer, and before that you worked in the office of district attorney. Tell us a little bit about the pluses, and then we'll ask you about the negatives.
Okay. Well, there's a lot of pluses. First of all, I do want to let you know I've started with the DA's office back in 1997 as a prosecutor. And I worked as a prosecutor, line prosecutor for a number of years. Then I became assistant DA. And then when Jeff Dottle passed away in 2010, I was appointed by the board. So I've been the DA since 2010. I ran in 2012. And so I've been the DA, elected DA since then. There are a lot of pluses. Probably the biggest one is being the DA is just an amazing job. It really is. What I do is pursue justice in criminal cases, and I can't really think of anything better than that. It's interesting, it's challenging. The people I work with are just fantastic. We have a very strong staff. Everybody's committed to justice and pursuing justice in criminal cases. So I can't say enough good about the actual job. The challenges have also been many. We've had some challenges that began just about the time that I became DA and that are ongoing, and that is the budget. I'm sure you're very familiar with the county's budget issues that we've had. So that has been a challenge. The budget just itself is probably not going to end. That's going to be an ongoing challenge. We've also had some very big challenges with AB 109 that was instituted in 2011, and those are ongoing challenges. Going back to the budget, it's, our staff has been cut by about a third in the last 5 years. It's an ever-shrinking pot of money. We've managed to survive some of that by getting a grant. We were successful in getting our DUI suppression grant. That was a very good grant. We also came up with a program to divert some low-level cases out of the system. At no cost to taxpayers. So that's kind of a win-win there. Try to lower the workload a little bit in a smart way, in a smart and effective way. And the other part of the budget challenge is that it's become a year-round process. But the current board and the current CAO are trying to streamline that so that the department heads aren't constantly working on budget, and we can actually get back to the business of what we're supposed to be doing. So I'm looking forward to some of those changes, and hopefully some of the budget management part of it will become less challenging going forward. AB 109. That's the biggest curveball that we could have been thrown. It's the biggest overhaul, the biggest change in the criminal justice system in decades. It's interesting being on a big historic shift like this. This is something that is just that massive a change, and we're living it. So I guess from a lawyer's perspective, from a criminal justice perspective, and that's very interesting, but it's been extremely challenging. It's 500 crimes you can't go to prison for anymore. That's a big change. That's a really big change. People don't go back to prison for parole violations. So we're tasked with trying to deal with those people when they do violate. We can't just send them back to prison. And the credits the prisoners get are increased, which basically means their sentences are discounted more, so they're coming out sooner. So those are pretty big changes and pretty big challenges that we've had since I became DA.
Has there been any advances in or breakthroughs in retraining or rehab? Or I understand that perhaps a lot of the criminals are basically psychotics or deeply troubled people, neurotic. And I wonder if there's been any breakthroughs that where people can get a better grip of their own mind to develop their own goal structure and not come back into the system.
And I think it depends on who you talk to, whether or not that really exists or not. There are different models. There's different mindsets and paradigms that they're trying right now. It's a big shift. There's different products, and I call it a product because it's really what it is. It's kind of a trademark. There's the moral recognition therapy, and then there's courage to change. Those are kind of trademark products. But what it is, it's a cognitive behavioral therapy. They're trying to change the person's thinking and how they react and how they adjust to their reality, if you will. We've been doing that for a while. Probation Department was doing that for a while. So there's
the criminal.
Go ahead.
needs to want to, right?
Well, that's correct.
If
Yeah.
they don't want to, you can't impose a new personality on them.
Right, right. And so the programs are there. Only time's going to tell if they're actually working. I wouldn't call them new. The structure is a little bit new. We have the day reporting center now where everything is all under one roof. The programming, from what I've seen, is about the same, and only time will tell if it actually changes people. Probably on an individual basis, if someone is ready to change, they're going to be able to take advantage of those resources and hopefully change. But you're right, someone's not going to change unless they're ready to change. Which is one of the big issues we have with the lack of jail capacity and the lack of being able to have a consequence if you don't want to change.
Right.
So if you know, we used to be able to use custody as kind of an incentive. You want to change or you want to go to prison. So you know, we don't really have that anymore. So it's a big experiment. It's a big social experiment. I'm not sure that we were ready statewide for it, but it's here, and we have to try to deal with it.
How long have these programs been in operation?
Well, the probation department, our probation department, was kind of on the forefront of some of that, and we'd have to ask them how long they were doing the cognitive behavioral therapy, but I believe it was a few years before AB 109, and it's something they started doing with juveniles. This kind of treatment and rehabilitation instead of punishment, and so they're putting that model on adults right now. So. Something they have experience with, and we'll just have to see how it goes.
What results have they gotten so far?
I think that also depends on who you ask. So,
So there's no hard statistic. If they go back to jail, apparently it fails. It didn't work.
Well, that depends on who you ask as well. I would call it a failure. Other people don't necessarily call that a failure. They call that as a part of the process of rehabilitation. So it really depends on who you're asking and what type of question you're asking. The Community Corrections Partnership is working on trying to gather the data. It's all very data-driven. And there's the administrative assistant analyst who is employed by the CCP, the Community Corrections Partnership, works really hard, and she's trying to get all the numbers together. They're subject to interpretation, of course. What's a failure? So you can call everyone a success if you change the definition of success. So it does depend on who you ask.
You have access to statistics of crime rates for a county? In other words, what's been happening over a period of years? What does the picture look like over the last recent years compared to previous years?
I don't keep statistics. My case management system is basically an electronic file system. We still have paper files, and it lists names, and it lists case numbers, and it lists the biographical information and the charges. We don't have a way to keep the statistics, unfortunately. I'm hoping to change that someday. I'm hoping to get go paperless and get a case management system that can turn those numbers out for whatever they're worth. I know the sheriff's office does keep very close crime statistics.
Yes.
So I apologize. You'll have to ask him for those numbers. Our caseload has maintained steady. But the numbers only say so much, right? Because you can have 100 cases, but if they're fairly simple, that's a certain amount of work. If they're very intense, high profile, very serious cases, that's a different picture of the workload. So the numbers, I think, are instructive, but they only tell you so much.
Say out of 100 prosecutions, I imagine a lot of these are plea bargained out, but out of 100 prosecutions that go to trial, what is your success rate? Do you have an idea of what that is?
Our success rate is pretty good. It is. I don't keep numbers on that.
Yeah.
I do have a staff person who can pull files and look, and she wasn't around today, unfortunately. So, I don't have that information, but we do have a pretty good success rate. And you brought up plea bargaining, and I do want to just talk about that for a moment. I know it kind of gets a bad rap, if you will, but you don't think so? Oh, good. No. Well, just to give you a picture of, or maybe demystify what that is, we do file approximately 1,400 cases a year. A misdemeanor is going to take 1 to 3 days to go to trial. A felony is going to take sometimes it'll be 1 day, but 2 to 10 or more days. We only get a couple trial days a week, so you can't possibly take everything to trial. You can't. If you did, you'd only file a couple hundred cases a year. And then there's all that crime that you're not addressing. So it's a necessary part of the system. The other thing is when someone's done something wrong, and to the extent that it is a crime and we've charged them with a crime, if they're willing to plead guilty, take the punishment, do what's reasonable, make the victim whole, not cause the victim to have to go to trial. That's a good thing. Yeah, that's a good thing. And so what we do is when we are prosecuting a case, we look at what is reasonable, what is this case worth? And you know, it's very abstract, but an experienced prosecutor knows the facts, the law, the judge, the court, you know, what is this case really going to be worth? What am I going to get out of it? What do I need to get out of it for this defendant? Whatever the issue was that caused them to do the crime, maybe it's really mental health counseling. Maybe they don't need to go to jail, but they need to do mental health counseling. So we consider all of those things, and we evaluate the case and make a reasonable offer. If the defendant's willing to take that, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And that's a plea bargain. So it's really something that is necessary for the system, and it's really the way it should work. So
Now, it would seem like the defense attorneys would be more likely to consider plea bargaining if the DA had a high success rate at trial, because his client would be better off than taking a good chance of losing in court. Of course, I don't know if that is really true or not.
well, you'd have to adjust that. I'm trying to help my reputation here, but I'm sorry, I hope I didn't mess with the microphone. You know, we try to be very reasonable. You know, we're small enough, and my attorneys work hard enough that we look at the cases and we try to look at them individually. It's not just churning out numbers. It's not just churning out a certain success rate. It's doing what's right in an individual case. And sometimes we go forward in a case, and then when more evidence comes forward, we can't be stuck worrying about, ooh, that's going to look bad for this rate or that rate. We got to do what's the right thing to do. Sometimes that might mean dismissing a case. Sometimes that might mean doing something else with it. So we really focus on trying to do the right thing in every case. And I think, by and large, the defense attorneys, mostly we deal with the same ones. I think they recognize that. They do it. They know, and they know also if we take a stand on what we think is a reasonable offer and they don't want to take it, that we'll take it to trial. You know, we can't file it if we're not willing to try it. So, yeah.
If you didn't, then your word wouldn't be good anymore.
That's right. Yes, I don't bluff.
Now, we're going through a process. Well, in the AB 109, what have been the consequences for our county, in your opinion? I know there's challenges, but what effect has it had on the taxpayer, and what effect has it had on the public for prevention of crime? Are they safer now because of 109 or not?
I don't think they're safer. I really don't. We're seeing anecdotally, and what I see, based on the names that keep coming through and the type of offenders that we're seeing more dangerous offenders, and we're also seeing a faster revolving door, if you will, because 500 crimes, you can't go to prison anymore. So where do you go? You go to the local jail. Well, the jail's full. So who's not serving their time? So you have this constant churning of in and out. Parole, the parole shift, that was a huge shift. It used to be someone went to prison, got out on parole, they're ordered to abide by their terms of parole. You know, don't drink, don't do drugs, you know, because that was the problem. They were a wonderful person unless they were doing drugs, and then they went out and beat people up, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So used to be, if you would find a parolee who's done something like that, they would go back to prison. They could go back up to prison for about a year. Okay, that's a year that law enforcement doesn't have to deal with them. That's a year they're not victimizing people on the outside. You don't have that anymore. So they're out.
Yeah, we're not. We're more in danger.
And I don't want to see anything that's going to scare people or cause people alarm unnecessarily. But I don't think AB 109 works. That's my opinion, based on what we've seen. And the sheriff's got some big challenges, and Angels Camp Police Department and the local CHP, they've got big challenges seeing these people coming in and out. There is no statewide tracking system. So, one of the issues is we locally have put a lot of effort into trying to track and watch and really follow the people we know about, the local people who have come back, or our post-release community supervision people, our PRCSs, our non-parolees. We do put a lot of effort into watching those people. But we don't have a wall around Calaveras County, so we get people coming in from out of county that are up to no good, and we have no idea who they are. We have no idea what they're supposed to be doing because there isn't that centralized tracking system that there was with parole when it was the state agency that could track the people. So
Is there
it's
effort to
a
reform
challenge.
that and to try to correct?
There's a push. There is a push. I don't know when that's going to happen. So, yeah, it'll remain a challenge. It'll remain a challenge for frontline law enforcement for sure.
Other than tracking people to be able to get a better grip on who they are, what other reforms really need to be done to correct some of the problems with 109?
Start over. It's not going to happen. And the thing is
Sounds
that
like Obamacare.
oh my goodness. The thing is that this is going to continue to be a challenge. And I have the governor's proposed budget just came out. I haven't read and digested the whole thing, but what it's looking like is they're going to expand further who is not being housed in prison. So one of the proposals is to give second strikers an even bigger discount on their sentences. So people who've gone to prison because they have a strike, the 3 strikes you're out, do you remember when that came in, is really being gutted. So we're going to start seeing more of those people coming out. They're going to increase the opportunities for medical parole. And they're going to give parole to anyone who is over 60 who's done 25 years already. If they had a 25 years to life sentence.
That's
and they're
murders
60,
too?
yes. And they're 60, they're going to get parole with certain exceptions. I don't know what those exceptions are. They haven't said what the exceptions are yet. But we have those cases. One of the very interesting things that we do at the DA's office is we go to prisons to fight what's called lifer hearings. These people who are in prison for 15 to life or 25 to life. Life doesn't mean life. Life means until they let you out on parole. And we go and we say, no, don't let them out. And here's why.
Right.
Okay, well, we're talking about some people who are going to get out.
The victim attends those hearings as well?
Yes, they're allowed to attend them. They're allowed to attend them now. For instance, Frank Rubio, he's in his 60s. This is triple homicide from back in the 80s. Okay, well, he's over 60, and he got 25 to life for a triple execution-style homicide. Okay, so is he going to get paroled now? So instead of it fixing and being adjusted to help alleviate some of the real life problems that we're seeing now, it's potentially going to get worse. So I am concerned about that.
Yeah.
But that's and the framework for who is in the jail is potentially also going to change. Yeah.
It seemed like there would be more important that the people be able to defend themselves, which brings up the subject of concealed carry, which we had with the sheriff right here.
Okay.
And we discussed that. And the sheriff, we really agree with the sheriff that he's in favor, especially women, being able to be trained on firearms, pistol, and know how to use it safely and get a permit. And if worse comes to worse, they might be able to defend their family. You couldn't depend on a sheriff coming to help you if somebody's broken into your home. You're vulnerable.
And with the cuts to the sheriff's office, I know they're trying to rebuild, but they're rebuilding to a prior lower level, right? So, response times are a huge issue. It's a very big issue.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough for frontline law enforcement out there. Sometimes you might only have 2 to 4 deputies for the whole county. It's a lot of acreage to cover.
Oh yeah.
That's a lot of acreage, and they're making life and death decisions with split-second decisions like that. And I think there's a perception that it's safer for law enforcement in the cities because it's more dangerous in the cities for law enforcement just because more dangerous things happen. It's actually more dangerous for law enforcement in the rural areas because your backup is so far away.
Yeah.
So but I agree with the sheriff that if you are going to seek a CCW, you need to be trained. You need to keep fresh on your training.
Right.
It needs to become muscle memory. It's not something that you want to be not ready to use, because if you pick it up, you better be ready to use it.
Right.
You don't want it taken from you. You don't want it stolen from you and used against you. So definitely, if you have that desire, get trained. And there are training classes.
Yeah. I understand in Tuolumne County they have a program set up, just for women. And I attended their barbecue, and they didn't want me to speak because it was only supposed to be for women.
Oh.
I thought that was discrimination, but so be it. But I was so glad they did that, because there may be one or more times in the coming years where a life will be saved by by a wife being able to protect her family. And that would be a good thing. The court move is a big
Oh,
thing.
yes. I know that there is a rumor or a belief that we moved. We did not move. So no, the court moved up to their new courthouse, which is beautiful, and there's 4 courtrooms, and it's quite large. But we did not get to move. So, and it's very interesting. It's causing us some unexpected challenges. When you are so strapped and you are, shrinking because of the economy, every minute counts, and it's twice as far and it's uphill, and we appreciate the exercise, but when you have a huge amount of files, my staff is having to drive, so it's taking longer. I actually asked for a little bit of space up at the courthouse, and they said no. So don't look for us there. We are not there. We're still in our building, which is falling apart. But it's home, so we're staying there for a little while. We were hoping to move to the vacated courthouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure Janice Elliott, County Council.
Yeah.
We had worked pretty hard on some innovative ideas to try to share some resources.
Yeah.
Because we know budget cuts are coming. We're trying to plan for that. So we're hoping to be next to each other in the vacated courthouse.
Yeah.
So it's not substantially closer to the new courthouse, but it would be nice to have that opportunity to share resources. And I was hoping also that I could share my law books with the law library to help support the law library. So that's what we've been hoping and what we're working on. I don't know if it's going to happen. It's up to the Board of Supervisors. It'll be up to the board. But our current state of our office is, we're 4 trailers put together, and one trailer is trying to break off from the other trailers. So it's just
due to the winds.
I don't know. It was temporary housing 9 years ago. So. It's probably time for a move, but I don't know when that's going to happen.
Now, would this be under the Department of Public Works to plan these type of things?
Oh, that's a good question. They've inspected us to make sure we're not going to collapse any moment. But no, it's they actually have to bring in someone else to try to jack up our trailer because we're on jacks. We don't have a foundation, so it wouldn't be up to them to fix. I don't think that they work on those types of buildings. Do you mean as far as who moves where?
Well,
in the county?
At some point, somebody needs to evaluate the lifespan of a facility, and at some point, the upkeep gets so expensive.
True.
Or maybe its functionality diminishes to such a point where it actually causes more harm than good.
Well, when it first happened, when we first noticed the building kind of breaking apart a little bit, someone did come in and they said that those buildings are meant to last about 7 years. So, and it's been 9.
Okay.
It's been 9.
So I guess it would be up to the county administration to plan on the renovations that are needed for the buildings, or would it be Department of Public Works or
Well,
both?
it's the board.
Okay.
It's the
Well,
board has
the board
the
doesn't
ultimate
do anything
decision.
unless somebody brings it to them.
Well, the CAO will be making a recommendation to the board, but
Okay.
the board is the ultimate decision maker on that.
All right, so then the next
So,
question is, what is needed? Well, being up near the courthouse, of course, it'd probably be important. Is there space in that area to build a new structure or office buildings for you?
Oh, I think there's plenty of space, but that would be a money issue. Yeah. And when the sheriff's office is up and running, I feel confident that Sheriff Kuntz will let us have a little space there. He's already told me that we would try to work something out so we can at least try to be a little more efficient.
Yeah.
It's all about efficiency and just those minutes, that extra time. It's double the time, and it's.
Plus, you probably need to get a shopping cart to bring your books and things.
We have a rolling carpet that they don't last very long, and there's no sidewalk all the way up. So I have had a couple people fall, which is nothing serious, but.
Hope they don't sue.
Oh yeah, that's a whole other resource issue. But they have had to drive, unfortunately, because of the volume of files.
Yeah.
We're not paperless yet. I don't know when that's ever going to happen, but they do. They just have to. They have to drive up there and. I'm thinking, of course, mileage and gas and time.
Maybe a golf cart, electric golf cart would be the thing to shuttle back and forth.
Could be. Could be.
But
Well,
that costs money too.
that costs money too. Well, I was hoping that the court would give us a little space for, wireless printer, or to, so we could store some things, so we wouldn't have to do as much back and forth.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
You mentioned that your budget is actually going down, maybe a third in 5 years. Okay.
Or our staff has gone down a third in 5
Okay,
years,
not
yeah.
your budget, but your staff.
Right, yeah.
I wonder if a comparison that could be made for efficiency with your department, with other departments in similar counties, as to what they're doing. Maybe they're doing something different, and to see if there could be some ideas as to what would be needed to make yours more efficient. And it looks like upgrading your facility could be part of it. But of course, another thing, if you're doing so well where you are, they may not want to disrupt you.
Well, and when it comes to budget preparation, I think it's very common for DAs in neighboring counties or DAs in similar sized counties to reach out to each other to find out, what is your profile looking at? What are you guys looking at? How have you tried to solve these problems? And so I will be doing that when it comes to closer to budget time. There's one county that they were furloughed, and so they juggled their calendars so they could accommodate that. When it first came up in 2010 about possibly furloughing, I actually did reach out to the court to see if we could try to juggle, and that didn't really go anywhere. So it's not something that we could easily absorb. I'm not sure what we would do, because we have to be there when the court's open.
Right.
So even on, we have an interesting situation where we have county holidays that don't necessarily coincide with court holidays. Well, we have to work on those days. So it's, we're not 24/7 the way the sheriff's office is, but we're also not like some of the other departments. We're a little bit in between.
Well,
Yeah.
that's interesting. You have quite a bit of responsibility. You have 5 deputies, plus part-time, and you have an investigator, and then you have a victim witness person. That seems like a lot of chickens to keep track of.
Well, and I also have support staff too, but they're not chickens. They're, my deputies are warriors, and we work really, really well together. We generally have very low turnover, and I think that's because we are so close knit.
And you're happy.
And we're happy. Everybody has their problems. We're not without them, but I can't say enough about my staff. My staff is amazing. They really are, and they're all pretty happy.
I feel the same way about the sheriff and the deputies I've met. They're really top-notch.
Well, they're dedicated. They work there because they want to work there.
Yeah.
Well, it's not just because they have to, but they want to.
Wouldn't it be wonderful if this were true in all government? Barbara, it's such a pleasure having you with us.
Thank you so much for having me, Al.
And thank you for watching Taxpayer Alert. And we hope you'll see our next program. And we'd like to express our website is calaveраstaxpayers.org. We have a lot of information, and we also have all our previous programs on YouTube links, so you can see all the other programs we've been doing. Thank you very much.